fun in the past and stuff like that, I'm happy to stick around. And 2 hours is not enough. If I were Arindam, I would make this class at least 4 hours and talk through it. That's how much is there. Yeah. So usually when you have the right skill set and the right tools, you will be able to do this study, whatever I'm teaching you, from tomorrow morning onwards. If you're curious, then tonight onwards, you will be able to get through this. What you need to understand is the fundamentals, the basics. Once you know the basics, you will be able to bend it, break it a little bit of, breaking is also possible. So you will be able to do that part. Let's start. Before that, I want to set a tone for what kind of a class is this. See, there are multiple types of classes, right? One could be a lecture that I speak and you listen and you forget after you leave. That's one type. The other one is a workshop where I can really ask you to do it with me and you're doing it step by step. That's another type of a class. And there's a master class where somebody who has had like 20 plus years of experience comes and pours everything at a 2x speed and everything is kind of shared with you. And it is for you to take like little by little throughout your life for that matter. And there is also a thinking class where you're thinking along as we are speaking about it because it is easy to understand, but you're wondering in your own way. Because when I say it, you understand, but when you think it, it's hard, right? You must have had some subjects like that, right? It's super easy. For example, psychology, super easy to understand. But when somebody asks you to write your point of view, you'll be like, huh? What are you talking about? So this is one of those thinking classes that, because in 2 hours, that is the best way in which you can get the maximum ROI. I wish it was a workshop, honestly. If you give me 6 weeks of your life, I will do a workshop because that's how much you need to do in your hands. But promise me that you will take everything, whatever is here. All the slides will be shared. Most important things will definitely be shared. I will even give you more nuggets on the go. And then you can start doing it on your own from tomorrow morning onwards. Yeah. So keep the chat really buzzing because you're going to be thinking, and thinking is the hardest job out there because our brains are not meant to push the thinking. You'll understand why. I'll try and give you some glimpses of the neurobiology that we have. With that, when I ask you a question, ask you to think, keep the chat going. Don't worry about the speed at which it is coming. I will catch up with it. That is why you will see my eyes moving from here to here because I have your chat window right next to me and the slides are here. All right, let's get started. Okie dokie. Give me an example of your big investment in the past 3 months, whatever that is. Oh, from your first earning, Shravani, that's so special. Next leap, oh my God. Absolutely. Next leap. So, why did you make the purchase? Why did you come to Next Leap? There are free YouTube videos available on product management, so many books. Why? Why are you spending your weekend? Yeah, to learn and switch my career, upskill, product mindset. Yeah, leveling up in a structured way to upskill and learn, support and guidance, to connect to leaders like you, instructor-led, structure, easy, to learn it in detail, the trust factor, to transition into a better job, switch and make more money and take more courses. Fantastic. I love that answer. Guidance, to be around people who are trying and have tried it all. Fantastic. Want to earn money? That's being honest. Good reviews from ex-students. Awesome. Transition the career. Okay. Market ready. Fair enough. Excellent. Thank you so much for those answers. But if you actually look deeply into it, every single one of you said something like, I want to get richer, I want to switch my career, I want to learn, I want to upskill. So what is that? What is that you're trying to fulfill inside you? Needs? Ambition? growth. Finance is what you're looking as an outcome. But yeah, get better, pursue my interest, self-growth. Yeah. So pretty much, usually, whenever you make a purchase, it is always like this. There is a desire and you get the job done. If I have more time, I would get into getting the job done part a lot more in detailed way. But you're getting the job done. You're making that career switch through next leap. Yes or no? You're making that instructor-led learning through next leap. You are taking care of your needs and wants and get the job done. The same applies to your idli and dosa as well. It need not be just next leap or your laptop or your bike. It is applicable for everything that we purchase with money or in kind. There's always a desire. And that is what we call as need finding. The name says it all, right? We're finding the need. So usually research is called as need finding or discovery. And JTBD is a very common word in the product world, and jobs to be done. Earlier, we did not know that we were trying to get a job done. There are so many breakfast items. There's an idli, there's a pongal, there's a bagel, there is a sandwich, there is intermittent fasting, and then there is milkshake. So among all of it, why did you choose one? And this was a study done by Professor Clay Christensen. He passed away a few years ago. See, poha, all of that. The milkshake study of McDonald's. And he asked this question, why do people, buy the milkshake? And he came up with this idea that they hired the milkshake to get the job done. And that is the best hire to get the job done because somebody was driving the car and drinking the milkshake. This wouldn't be possible with the banana. You have to do this and eat, and then it is sticking to your fingers. Yeah. You can't do that with a sandwich because you have to hold it like this and you can't drive. So in that context, that customer was getting a job done, and for that they hired the milkshake. So now go back to your question and ask, why did you choose Next Leap? There is a Coursera, there is a YouTube, there is a edX, there is an NID, there is a Shrishti, there is an IIT. Why Next Leap? What did you hire Next Leap for? Great question. Yeah? To get the job done. Which job? And that's exactly what. Placement after 3 months. Fair enough. And every time you ask this question as a consumer, now that you're becoming a creator, you're coming into the product world, you're becoming a maker, and now you can ask this question for your customers. What job are they trying to get done? What desire are they trying to fulfill? And it is your job and my job to go and find that needs and wants. Clear? Making sense? Yeah? All right, cool. One more time. All right. I found a bit of assurance through all the reviews. Fair enough. You have analyzed Next Leap quite a bit. But what I'm asking you to do is use this concept to think through everything going forward. So far, you have been a consumer because you're on this side of the equation. Now you're becoming the other side of the equation. You're creating the products. You're creating the experiences. You're creating the services. Now, when you're creating the service, you need to understand what the job should be done for this customer, what desire, needs, and wants they're trying to fulfill. Yeah? Awesome. But not all human beings are rational or act rationally. And hence there are only, a few of you in this class. As simple as that. So there is a customer segment for every product out there. And go and ask this question. A few products sell amazingly well, and few products don't. Why? That's what we are asking. Okay? Fantastic. What is that one thing that you desire now, but you haven't talked about? Hey, Pranit. I see your hand.
Hey, hi Garthi. I have a question actually.
Mhm.
In the McDonald's example, right?
Mm.
Basically, I saw the video. It was very difficult to understand, but uh, see, everybody wants to get a job done. That is the reason, the consumer hired a
Yes.
milkshake to get the job done because they were driving for 2 3 hours, and
Yes.
they want the hunger to
Yes.
be not there, right? That is why they can slip slowly, and for 2 3 hours they can feel full, right?
Yes.
A banana
Yes.
or a donut cannot get that job done, so that is the
Mm.
reason they were doing the milkshake thing, right?
Mm.
Huh. So see, it depends on each and every customers, right?
Mm.
Like some people might eat something different.
Mm.
Some people, correct, right? So many people have different needs, as you said. For each and every customer segment, there might be a different get job to get done, right?
And the context as well. When you're not driving, you're not drinking milkshake, no? You might
Mm-hmm.
be eating your idli.
Correct. Huh.
Right. So especially when your context is driving long and you need to keep driving and get it through the drive-through. See, it's also an example which is not very familiar in India, purely because we don't eat breakfast like that, right?
Hmm.
So, but go ahead and apply the same concept to everything. For example, why are you choosing to go in a bike to office in Bangalore?
Okay.
You chose it. You are, as a user, you are a chooser.
Hmm.
You choose things based on your needs and wants to get a job done. You can travel via metro, you can
Hmm.
go in a car, you can go in a bus, you can go in a public transport, whatever.
Hmm.
But why did you choose your bike? Good question. You could have gone to any other college, any other boot camp, but why next leap?
Hmm.
So there is a phase of life, and there is a time of life, and there is a context, and there is a desire for which you are getting the job done.
My
You
question is,
you don't buy kites every other time, right? But when it is Shankranti, you buy it. You don't
um,
buy crackers all the time. You buy it when it is Diwali.
hmm.
And there are some of us who don't believe in crackers and we will not buy,
Hmm.
especially pet parents. We don't buy it.
Hmm.
So that is for you to think through. That's why I said there are layers to our thinking. It's one of the hardest jobs out there. And you, my friend, are stepping into the thinking job,
Okay.
which is product design and product management. So, what is
Okay.
your question?
Yeah. So my question is,
Mm.
why did the McDonald's choose only milkshake? Uh, you know, to think that the consumer only needs this to get the job done. See, there can
So,
be many.
McDonald's sells many things.
Hmm.
It sells McFlurry, it sells one burger. It's
Hmm.
this study specifically was conducted, or rather they commissioned this particular group of students and the professor to come and study why or how to increase their milkshake sales.
Okay.
So
Okay.
this research study was particularly done for that reason,
Okay. Okay.
and that is how they, if you go ahead and read this in YouTube, you will see
Hmm.
that um, the afternoon milkshake is more watery.
Okay.
All they did was they just added water to it. Why? Because they don't need it to be so thick and so full because it is going to intrude with their dinner time. So they
Hmm.
just want a light shake.
Okay.
So by just adding water, they made more millions.
Okay.
And that's
So
what an insight can do.
okay. So after getting this insight that people are using the milkshake to get the job done, for any particular reason for the user, right?
Hmm.
So by deriving this insight, what did they do to increase the sale?
They made more milkshakes and they added fruits to the milkshake, for example, so that people felt that as if they are eating healthy milkshakes. chunks of fruits and stuff. And later they added water for the afternoon milkshake. So between 3 and 4 o'clock, when people come and buy milkshakes, it's a little more watery. This is how they applied the insight from the study and helped the business outcome.
Okay. Okay.
Does that make sense?
I thought they are using this to a particular, particular marketing strategy.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
Because
See,
that is how we increase the sales.
You can use insights for everything. Usually, for creating value and capturing value and communicating value, the insights are used. That is why we do research. The first part of your value operations, the first thing that we do is try and understand the problem. That's what you're learning, right? You're learning, what does the business want? You're learning, what should the product be? Who is my customer? What is his or her needs and wants and context? That's what you're learning. And you can use it across. So there is nothing like you will use it only here and you will not use it there.
No. Okay.
Anything that helps your business flourish, you should.
Understood.
And friend, that is why you and I are paid more, because they can make millions out of us. They can make billions out of us, and they pay you peanuts, right? Yeah. All right. Cool.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So keep your questions coming. If I can't answer it through the flow, I'll try and answer it at the end. Otherwise, your class will not get completed today. I am happy. I'm happy to spend all the time. Or you is a question. All right. So yeah, what is one thing that you desire now and you haven't talked about? What is the one thing you want, but you don't know what you want? Come on. A peer group, but you're able to say it, no? So you know what you want. Good and stable job?
I have posted it once. Stay in one company longer and expertise in one area in that company.
Fair enough. But you're able to say it, no? You haven't talked about it.
Yeah, I haven't tried it yet. So I have 13 years of experience. I am in currently 9th company in that 13 years.
Understand.
And I haven't found that area which I could do better.
Understand. But you're able to talk about it.
Yeah.
You are able to articulate what you want. And this is an impossible question to answer, right? Because you don't know what the hell you want. And when you know, you can talk about it. When you don't even know, what can you talk about? It's hard to figure it out, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's very hard to figure it out. So that's what happened 15 years ago with UPI, isn't it? Did we say that I want to send money like text? Use a scanner and just take it from my bank account? Yeah, something like that. We never imagined. But it came and it just changed everything. Isn't it? Just 5 years ago, GPT. 10 years ago, did we talk about transformers and AI coming and doing things? Hardly. So the question is, how do we innovate like that? How will you find the next GPT? How will you find the UPI? How will you find that Apple headphones, which when is not in contact with your skin, stops? And then when you put it back on, it continues from where you are. We never talked about it. We never asked Apple to do something like that. But how did they come up with things like that? Research? They didn't even talk. Then how will you research? And trend, there's no trend only. You are the trend setter. What behavioral patterns? What desire? Gap analysis. Did we do gap analysis? Were we unhappy, not able to send money via, scanning? Think deeply. These are the questions I want you to think. Yeah? All right. And our job is to innovate. We are product innovators. So, how do we do that job? Right? So, that is where I came up with a simple framework. Whatever you're learning about your customers' needs, wants, context, if your customer is able to articulate, say it out loud, then it will sit in the first half. The customer said, I need a stable job, and you got the stable job, then whatever their needs are, it is met. What they said, they got. For example, you say I'm hungry and you just had your lunch. Met, right? You say you're hungry, but you did not eat anything, which means it is unmet. There's a gap between what you're articulating and what you're getting. Yes or no? Yeah. But there are unarticulated needs. But when the need is given to them, when an UPI is put in front of them, people scan. Means the need is met. You didn't say it, you didn't think about it, but it is something that you want. This is something that we never talked about. This is something that is never done. That is an opportunity. So you will be able to classify what you're understanding in this simple 2x2 matrix. It's a framework that you can use in your everyday life as a researcher. And my friend, all innovation happens in that fourth box called opportunities. And that is pretty much where you ideally should focus a lot more. But that doesn't mean that you will not focus on other things. It's very important. 98% of the world runs on the other three. The 2% that changes the world runs on 4. Okay? Yes, you're right. Demonetization pushed. Even without demonetization, I think we will use the UPI because it is super easy. But there was an event that pushed it. You're right. Sapna, and that is the kind of thinking that you should be. You're just being open to everything that's happening around you as a researcher. Okay? Now, it is important, yes, faster internet, access to internet. We didn't ask for any of these things, right? So I'm going to give you some concepts in research. It'll be slightly heavy, but I will make it sure that you understand every word I speak. There are about each block with example. Yeah. You tell me. Let's take UPI. Let's take UPI, right? What is the base need? Sending money. You're saying that you, Karthi, you need to give money to, say, Nidhi, for example. So Nidhi said, Nidhi articulates, says that I want the money. So Karthi can go and hand over cash. Karthi can transfer via bank. Karthi can go ahead and make sure, give a check. These are all multiple ways in which we can do today. That's a met need. Nidhi says, you need to give me money. But she never got the money. Yeah. Unmet. Her needs are unmet. As a result, it's a gap. How many of us lend money and we never get back? Yeah. And now, Nidhi gets 11 rupees from Google Pay by scratching something. She never expected. This is unarticulated. But she met. And she got some 50 rupees for referring a friend. And now she goes back to Google Pay and keeps scratching every day. Don't you do that? So an unarticulated met need. Now we don't know what Nidhi wants. And Nidhi hasn't felt the need for it as well. We don't know. We don't know what we will put in front of Nidhi and she will grab it later. Today, she's not able to talk about it. Are you with me? Are you? Yeah. And that is pretty much because you're dealing with something that you can't put a finger on it. It's intangible. It's something that you can't touch it, feel it. It's not so objective, right? It's not so factual. It's being human. And that's what this is all about. Yeah. Awesome. I'm going to go a little fast. At this rate, we'll not complete it in 2 hours. So, all right. There are about 8 facets of research you should know. And I'm going to put the facets in front of you. And I'll explain every single one of them. Yeah. And if you look at the buckets, they will tell you what these facets are. What is a facet? A facet is a dimension, right? For example, behavioral versus attitudinal. What a person says versus what a person does in action. I say I am healthy, I eat healthy. But I go ahead and eat, whatever. That's my action. So whenever it is related to action, we call it as behavioral. Whenever it is related to attitude, like how I think, it's attitudinal. That's the first facet. The second one, I can understand the detailed way, deeply, on why something is happening. The why, what, how, all of that will be qualitative because it's all about the quality of the conversation. How much, how many, the number of things, that is quantitative. So I'm trying to understand it via data and numbers. So I can understand something using that dimension of, is it qualitative or quantitative? The third dimension is, do I want to generate ideas or form ideas or validate ideas? You're trying to make sense, right? And then, do you want to work with your customer and then come up with insights? Or do you want to just observe your customer, don't want to talk anything to them? Do you want to do things on behalf of your customer and you're not going to ask your customer? Or you're going to go and live with the customer and ask them questions whenever you think you should ask the questions? Now, you are not there, but only your customer is telling you, hey, I used it this man, I did 2 push-ups today, things like that. So participative is when your customer and you are co-creating. Observational is when you are watching the customer. Expert review is when you don't have the customer, but you are wearing the hat of a customer and you're going through a study. Inquiry based is you are asking questions and your customer answers. Self-reporting is your customer tells you what they did and you are not there all the time. This is another facet. A facet where how the relationship between the researcher and the participant is taken care. And then primary and secondary. Primary studies are you're gaining the data directly from the customer. You're just getting the data from them. Secondary, you're getting the data about your customers through another method. Could be a report, could be an expert, could be somebody else on behalf of your customers coming and talking to you. So is it direct data or indirect data? That's primary and secondary. Group versus individual. Do you have all your customers in one room? Or are you talking to each customer one by one? Are you talking to your customer in their home? Or are you asking your customer to come to your lab? Have you created the home-like environment in your lab and you're asking the customer to come? That is what is your field, lab, and hybrid. Are you using traditional methods like interviews and really talking to the customer? Are you inserting a chip into them and it is monitoring everything, or an APK into their phone and that is monitoring everything? That's innovative. Or you are in between. You're adapting innovative methods, but you're still using traditional methods. These are the 8 facets, and nothing outside of these 8 facets are usually, taken by the from a research perspective. And this is, I have explained it all. I'm going to send these slides to you, but let's go ahead and kind of use it and try and understand it in real time. Now, tell me what kind of a study you wanted to run. Give me an example, and it could be anything. Go for it. Formative is forming ideas, generative is generating ideas. Give me a problem statement that you want to study deeply. It's okay if you feel it is a little hard to come up like that. Yes, Karthik.
Yeah, hi, Karthik from
Speaking to
Karthik.
Karthik.
Yeah.
Go for it.
So my question is like here we are having a different facets in which we can, one of the aspect is observational. So if you look at the observational study, the subject of the meaning attached by the actor and by the observer could be different. What the action is doing. So in the same thing like group and individual, the individual might want X. Just because the group goes towards Y, the individual also succumb to the pressure and go towards Y. Yes.
Fair.
So in the field and lab also, because of the controlled environment, there could be a variation. So is that necessary that there will be always an error or something we can't get the full proof?
You're doing your best to choose the right method, Karthik.
Okay.
And as a result of it, so that is why you need to choose the right method. And sometimes the context might push you. For example, you want to go and understand a tribal, a group, and you wanted to understand their ways of living, and you want to live with them for 6 months. You should have 6 months, no?
Yes.
And you should have access to live with a tribal
Correct.
group like that, no?
Yes.
So, lot of the methods that we use depends upon our context and the pressures and the constraints of that time. That is why I'm asking you to come up, just give me a study that you want to do. I want to understand this deeply, Karthi. What would that be?
Okay.
Just give me 1 minute.
Just how the old generation, about 50 plus people are trying to adapt to AI.
Hardbavi. You're saying 50 plus is old, is it? Okay, fine.
I'm sorry.
How is 50 plus age group adopting to AI?
Yes.
That's your question. Now, tell me, how do you want to conduct this study? Do you want to talk to them? Do you want to understand their opinion, or do you want to see them using the AI? What is it?
Mostly going in and around to be the participatory along with them. So we will know like what they are doing.
No.
Okay.
Just answer my questions. Do you want to know what they do or what they say?
I want to know what they do, like how they, use like,
Done. You answered my question. Do you want to understand the depth, the qualitative aspects of it, or quantitative aspects of it?
Quantitative.
Oops. Sorry. I have to share my screen again. You want to do the quantitative aspects of it.
Yes.
Means?
How many and how in percentage, not about quality.
Not about quality. All right. Do you want to form ideas or generate ideas or validate ideas?
I need to validate it, evaluate.
Evaluate it.
Yes.
Okay. Do you want it to be participatory or observational, or what is it? Choose one of the 5.
I'll go with observational.
Observational. Fantastic. Primary or secondary? Do you want to get it directly from that customer segment?
Yes.
Or
primary?
Okay. Do you want it group or individual?
I'll go with group.
Group? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You want them to come to you, or you want to go to them? I
want to go to them.
Okay. Do you want to use traditional methods, or do you want to put a camera and watch them?
Mm, maybe adapted anything.
No. Tell
Okay.
me, what do you want to do? You will not get to choose the items. You will
Okay.
just get to answer what is it you want.
Okay. So I
Do you
want to
want to
see
talk
them.
to them?
Yeah, see
You
them,
want to
talk
see
to
them.
them in person. Yeah.
Talk to them in person. Okay. Now, what has Karthi done? He has given his needs on
Okay.
how the study should be. So he's particularly saying, I want to look at their action and I want to know all the quantitative aspects of it. I want to evaluate. Evaluate means he should have an A and a B, because evaluation is that, right?
Yes.
Is A better or B better or
Right.
C better or D better, right? And he wants to observe them, and he wants to do it directly with the customer, and he wants to have a group of these 50-year-olds together, and he wants to do it in their home. Is that study possible?
Most likely.
How?
If I have access to it.
If you have access to it, fantastic. So when you're selecting the facets, you usually understand what kind of methods. You are a great segue to my next part, because I'm going to talk to you about the various methods that you can use.
Okay.
But what have you done here is you are sharing what you want to understand from the study. So what would I do for this Karthi's way of study? First thing first, I have to have 2 prototypes ready, or 2 MVPs ready, or 2 products ready, because I am evaluating. Do you have those 2 things ready? Question mark. Your answer could be yes or no. Do you have it ready? Let's say ChatGPT versus Gemini. You're only not doing it. No problem. You have it. So you will select people who are using ChatGPT, 5 of them who are using Gemini? Yes. And you want to know how many times they are going to AI in a day or in an hour? Doable. And you want to see how you're going to actually, see how they are doing it, behavioral, and you want to observe them. So here is my idea. Bring 10 group of people, put them in 2 rooms in a large, say, community hall, this end one and that end, which means it is field and there is group of people and all the customers are there, so it is primary, and you will have 2 researchers standing in this station and this station, observational, and you are giving one group ChatGPT and one group Gemini, and you are seeing for every question you ask, are they going to Google, or are they going to Gemini, or are they going to ChatGPT? You're able to measure those things, and you're seeing exactly how they're asking questions. Do they ask it like how they ask Google? Did we design a study? Yes or no? Making sense? Karthi, I want you to answer.
Yes.
Yes? Okay. Is everybody else getting? That is how you use the facets. You as a researcher, you say, what do you want to learn from the study? And then you figure it out using the facets. Clear?
Yeah,
Yeah.
got it. Yeah. Thank you.
Fantastic. No problem. And now that we have the facets ready, sometimes your facets will be impossible. Huh? You are human beings, so I trust you 100% that you will make impossible choices. Sometimes you will tell me, I want to hear their opinion and I want to see them, Karthi. Attitudinal and behavioral. Yeah. I want to format ideas. I also want to evaluate ideas. Okay, dude. I want to do this both group and individual. First, I want to talk to everybody together, and then I want to talk to each person one by one. And that is when your method complexity changes. Usually, it increases in complexity. We call them as mixed methods. Yeah. If you're a beginner, please stay with one method fully, and then you can go ahead and play with more. As long as you understand the basics, you'll be able to ace it. Clear? Mixed methods are a little complex. I'll give you the methods and then you'll be able to use them. In 25 years of dabbling with this subject, I haven't used more than 5 or 6 methods. And I also have bias towards methods. There are some methods I don't like because the quality of the results they give is not so great. However, I'm going to give you some 8 methods which we will use time and again. I don't think you will need more than that. Yeah, if I haven't used it for 2000 studies, you will not need it either. Yeah, Praneeth.
Hi. These traditional methods, right, or the methods where we actually go to the customers to see how they use. Do we still follow that? Because now everything can see, every tech company can see what we do on the screen, right?
No. Traditional method doesn't mean that you go to the customer. Traditional methods are the research methods that have been traditionally used. For example, an interview is a traditional method. Karthi asking Praneeth about things. Now, Karthi doesn't meet Praneeth. Karthi has put a simple software into Praneeth's phone. Let's say I have installed an APK and everything Praneeth does keeps coming to me.
Correct. Right. So, when you said, right, there is a field study where there are 2 researchers and they're seeing how the other participants.
That is an example. That's an example because Karthi wanted to do it in the field.
Okay.
I am using a traditional method of user testing. So I will explain that to you now so that you will understand. Okay, folks, don't try to understand everything on the go because you will not. Only after the whole class is complete and when you start using them, you will start understanding bit by bit. Right now, if there are confusions and if you're having a little headache, stay with it. We'll try and finish all of them by the end of the class, take it up. So traditional method doesn't mean that you have to go to. So I'll explain the traditional methods to you. Now, you need not stick to the traditional methods. You can do innovative methods. And I don't want to keep going in Bangalore traffic to go to and I will put a camera there so that I can actually view what is going on. Okay? So sometimes you can adapt it. You can have one person there to turn on and turn off something and you are taking care of it from here. The sky's the limit. You can go ahead and figure out your methods, is what I'm saying. Yeah? All right, cool. So you need to understand research methods for you to do the research, right? So there are about 8 of them I want to share with you, but the top 4 is what I use regularly. And it's okay, there are too many details here. Let me try and explain it in simple English. Depth interviews, as the name says, these are in-depth interviews. I'm asking questions it feels like a conversation. It is usually one-to-one, and I'm just asking questions deeper and deeper and deeper, and you are giving your answers. This goes on for about an hour. So that's an hour, 90 minutes. So that's an in-depth interview. And there is a way to prepare for this interview. We create discussion guides. And there is a way to select participants. We use a screener or a locator to really do that. So these are all techniques with which you will prepare for the depth interviews. And what does these interviews give you as data? It is usually insights. Sometimes your customers also give you ideas. I think you guys should do this. Great. Sometimes they also give you evidence that, you know what, Gemini does a better job in this than ChatGPT. Great. So whatever is coming is insight for you. The second one is user testing. Basically, you will give them a task. You will say, search for, because he said 50 plus, we can say, search for all the temples in South India, for example. And you can see how they are asking that question, how they are prompting, what, techniques are they using? Are they giving examples? I like to go to only Vishnu temples. Show me the 108 Vishnu temples in South India, something like that. Are they giving a one-shot prompt or a zero-shot prompt or a multi-shot prompt? What is it? What are they doing? Or are they just show me all temples in South India? So that is what happens in user testing. That was an example. But what you'll do here as a researcher is you will give the task and you will see how they do the task. Do they complete the task? Do they succeed in the completion? Did they finish it? Thumbs up, thumbs down? Oops. Sorry, my reactions are on. And these are all things that you will start looking and gathering as evidence and insights. Contextual research. This is where you go to where your customer is. Let us say somebody is a technician in an MRI in a large hospital. So you go to that room and you ask questions and you watch what do they do while they're taking an MRI. These are like spontaneous interviews. Why did you do that? What did you do by clicking that? Why did you retake that scan? These are all contextual questions that you're asking. This also gives you amazing insights. If you ask me to rank what is the best method, Karthi, I would say contextual interview is the first one. There is also co-creation. You call the customer to your office and you sit with them. Let's say you work for Swiggy, and then you are working together. Like there is a product manager, there is a designer, there is a outbound somebody who is from marketing, sales, and here is a customer who is coming and telling you how to do this better. So you're co-creating that solution with the customer. Okay. Guerrilla interviews. You must have seen this in malls where people stop you and say, sir, taste this jam and this jam and tell me which one you like. It's a simple one question and they will understand how the public is reacting to A versus B. Or it could be a simple question like, did you like the movie or not? When was the last time you went to theaters to see a movie? Simple question, one question, usually one or two questions. So that's a guerrilla interview. Web analytics. I don't have to explain this. You know it. You're exploring and monitoring all of it in a tool like Google Analytics, Clever Tap. These are all great analytics tools. They give you insight and evidence that your customer cannot give. Oh, there was a peak today in the homepage. Republic's sale is on. There's a peak. You can understand from the analytics. Yeah. Survey. You're asking a large number of users with a structured set of questions. What do you think? This is where we use an open-ended survey or a closed survey. Agree, disagree could be one way of surveying. Or you can say, okay, you fill in all the details. It's another way of surveying. This is usually done for quantitative studies, but sometimes you can use surveys for qualitative. Don't do it. It's a nightmare because you're going to get answers, like hundreds of different answers, right? So the research method that you choose will determine if your life is going to be smooth or stressful. So it's on you. It's your choice. A/B testing. I don't have to say much about it. Basically, these are two groups of people for whom two different set of, a piece of software is given, and you're comparing them on a live product. ChatGPT asks you, do you prefer this or this response? That's an A/B test. Yeah. Focus group. You bring a bunch of people and then you ask them opinions about, how do they think about this brand? What do they think about this government? All of that, right? So these are the typical methods that you generally use. And then go to your facets to figure out what is that you want to learn. Based on that, you choose the method. And when you say multiple things, I want this to be this and that, then you're getting into a world of mixed methods. So far, how are we doing? Up, down. Hey, Karthi, that's too much. Or we are understanding every bit of what you're saying. Yeah, up. All right, great. Fantastico. All right. So now that you know these are the facets and these are the methods, now let's get into the process, how to bring it all together. Okay. And usually when you know the process, when you know the methods, hey, I'm going to do an in-depth interview. That is usually a very, how do I say, haphazard way of conducting a research. There is a structured way to do what you want to do. And this is a process that I developed for me as a researcher because it was not developed in any book or any blog, any other researcher, no mentors. This is something that I derived for myself. And I promise that this hasn't broken in the last, 15, 20 years. So please poke holes and tell me how it is doing. Can you explain contextual research? Yeah. What does the word mean, right? Context. In the context, you are performing a research. Somebody, let us say you're studying MRI machines. While the MRI is getting done, you are conducting the research. You are conducting it in the context. Let us say you are studying about the shoes, and these are sport shoes, specifically running shoes. So you are running along with the runner and asking questions. It is in the context. Let us say you are wondering, how is somebody using a ServiceNow software? You look at them, look at how they are opening the day, going through the workflows, how do they navigate? That is contextual research. Let's say Microsoft wants to conduct a study on how you use a Copilot. They sit right next to you and then they watch you use Copilot day in and day out, maybe for a day or two. That is contextual research. Making sense? Yeah? Was an example? No. McDonald's milkshake study was a mixed study, right? So they saw people who are driving, buying milkshake more. That is observational. And then they spoke to people, whoever was buying, and asking a question. Could have been a gorilla. I was not there, so I don't know. Or could have been an in-depth interview. Usually in-depth interviews, we pay the participant for an hour or two, and we get their time. We don't know how they did it, but there's a very high possibility they did an in-depth interview. Or maybe just a gorilla answer. Like, did you have any breakfast in the morning? No. Is milkshake your breakfast? Maybe. Do you do this every day? Stuff like that. You could have asked it. So go back and study how the study was done, look at the methods and stuff like that. Yeah. Focus group. Yeah. So I do not expect you to understand all of this in one shot, that too in a very short period of time. I want you to use these methods and see how it is working. Focus group is nothing but bringing a bunch of folks together and you're having a focused discussion on a topic. And the topic could be multiple things. Let us say you chose, using EV cars, electric cars, or to run two focus group, one who are using iPhone, the other who are using Android. Up to you. It really depends upon, see, it's like this. You can conduct a research on anything. To get your objective met, what methods would you use? That's the question. Making sense, Prem? Yeah? Now, again, Prasanna, depends upon like what do you want to achieve in that study? Do you want to form new ideas? Or do you want to build on top of new ideas? That is generating, right? So are you forming new ideas? For example, sometimes we don't know what problem we are solving. Sometimes we know exactly the problem we are solving. Let us say in the world of Zomato was existing and then Swiggy came up. So Swiggy Zomato do things, they are doing the same business in the same market. They share the pie. Do you understand? So when you are doing some, understanding of Zomato, you're doing a generative research. You're generating ideas from your competitor. Sometimes you have no idea. It's a green field. You have no clue what problem you're solving. And then you will do a formative study, a green field study. I'm just going to just watch and observe people. Yeah. How often do companies do this? Not so much. That's the honest answer. How many ethnographies have I conducted in my entire tenure? 2. How many rapid ethnographies have I conducted? Maybe 5. Rapid ethnography means 2 weeks of study. A real ethnography is like 6 months of observing and stuff like that. So we generally don't have this kind of time. And that is why this process is very important for you, because I'm going to tell you what you will be doing very often. You meeting your customer only is a big deal. If you work in a B2C company, maybe. But if you work in a B2B company, hardly. Yeah, that's the truth. So now, how do you act as a researcher in that environment is what I'm going to teach you in the process. Because you will be frustrated if you learn all the methods, if you learn all the, I want to meet the customer to understand what they're going. Sorry, boss, you do not meet the customer at all. Sometimes you will not even know who your customer is. So how do you conduct research in that scenario? That's what the process is. Yeah. Yeah, as a PM, do you have enough power to do research? Absolutely, you have the power. What kind of research is a different story. Any research that is deep, that is involving a lot of operations, is expensive. And let me give you expense. It costs between $100,000 to at least $800,000, $900,000. So that is why usually companies say, not really. Just do an MVP, put it out. We will see if it is going. Because in $800,000, they would have done MVP and more of MVP. That is how agile methodology kind of caught up, right? And that is one of the reasons you will see research maturity in the organizations being extremely low. Yeah. So your case studies, research docs, all of this will become secondary research. And you, my friend, must do a secondary research. You can do an expert review. You can audit your product, definitely. Even if you don't meet your customer, you can do all of these things. Are you with me? Yeah? So far, so good. Is there anything going above your head? It's also recorded, so you can watch it again. Yeah? All right, fantastic. Let's go. I want this process to happen live. Take a bunch of sheets of paper, maybe 3 or 4 A4 sheets of paper, and just have your pen ready and just write it down. And if you are such a digital person, then probably open a Miro board or something like that and just type it. Or even you can use your notes app in your phone. Bit overwhelming? Yeah, absolutely. If it's not overwhelming, then you need not study from me, right? You could have picked it up from a book or something. It has to be overwhelming. It should give you a headache. Your coffee is on me, but it's important for you to go through this. Yeah. All right. A coloring book never made an artist, my friends. So I want you to become artists. So I'm not going to give you any templates. This is not for enthusiasts and amateurs. This is real stuff. You will use it for a lifetime. So I want you to pay attention like that. Usually, when you're conducting a research, you will not conduct a research just like that. You will always answer questions. There is always an objective behind the research. Always. Yeah. If you are conducting the research or your organization is asking you to conduct a research, there is always an objective. Without objective, do not go forward. And for that, here are things that you should understand how it works in the process. Usually, if you look at a design process or the value process, we start with need finding and insighting. I told you, right? This is the first step of everything that we do. And then, based on this insight, we will create ideas and concepts. And then we will pick what we want to develop further. Is this making sense? Is it value for our customers? Then you create your product strategy and design strategy. And now that you know exactly what to do, you will go ahead and execute it. You will build it. You will start creating structure through information architecture, and then behaviors through interaction design and interface design. So this is the process of, we call it the full stack design process or a full stack product process. Yeah. So this is just the value creation and delivery side of things. We are not talking about value communication, stuff like that. Like how do you make sure that this is making sense? That is where your marketing and other things will come. But what we are covering from UXR is the first one, the need finding and the insighting. Here is a bunch of checklists that you can use. Start asking these questions. I'll send you these slides so you don't have to worry about taking notes and figuring things out. What stage of the project are we at? And information architecture is where, remember it like this. Now that you're asking that question, think about building a house, for example. Yeah, we have all seen house building process. So what happens? In house building, we first understand what all we want in this house. Do we want an apartment? Do we want a villa? Do we want a bungalow? Whatever. You are trying to understand the job that you want to get done. What is your desire, right? So we start there and then we come up with ideas and concepts. And then what is strategy? Strategy is picking one path. You're saying yes to one thing and you're saying no to multiple things. And what are you saying yes to? That's the question. Let's go build a villa. And that's a 4-bedroom villa. It could be 5-bedroom, it could be 3-bedroom. But you have decided to build a 4-bedroom villa. And your information architecture is that blueprint that your architect shows you. This is the size of your media room. This is the size of your large bedroom, small bedroom, kids bedroom, study room, blah.
Can you give me an example based on a software product?
We'll come there. Let me finish the villa first, and then you can remember it forever, right? So your behavior, are you building a wooden house? Are you building a brick house? Or you're building, today they are having tiny houses made out of these dabbas. So you need to decide the behavior. Are you going to have pneumatic pumps? Are you going to have overhead tanks? These are all behaviors you need to think through. And then, do you want to have Italian marble? Or do you want to have vitrified tiles? Do you want to have, emulsion paints? So these are all aesthetics. So if you apply the same thing to an interface, you will start thinking about, hey, what kind of a software we should make? What are the needs and the wants of the customer? What job are they trying to get done? Oh, if this is the job and this is the desire, then here are some ways in which we can create concepts. These are some ideas, right? So there is a Swiggy, which does food delivery. There is also a Uber, which does food delivery. Same thing, same job. But what is the difference? That's the question you're trying to answer in design strategy. Information architecture is how the Swiggy app is made. How is the information arranged? For example, don't you feel that it is far easier to use a Swiggy app compared to a Zomato app? Don't you? Because of some of the features like, live tracking, don't ask this person to ring the bell, make sure that they leave food outside my home, stuff like that, right? And this is information. They have made sure this information is available to you. And then you can interact it through a map, through a on-off button, stuff like that. And then kind of the visuals, the aesthetics of how that app looks like. That is the interface design. The basic structure is the same when you're building anything. Just that when you're building a digital product, your information architecture, interaction design, interface design is all about the UI, right? The top portion is all the UX. That's why we call it as UX UI. While I hate that term, we are all creating digital product design. Yeah. So it is not just data visualization, right? Could be wireframes, could be, it's not markup. See, this is where when visual designers become designers, full stack designers, everything that they see for that hammer, everything looks like a nail. They will solve everything visually. No. In information architecture, you need to understand if this is 400 square yards, how am I distributing my space in the house? You need to worry about hierarchy. You need to worry about, how are you placing things? Is your bathroom next to your kitchen? Stuff like that. Or your bathroom next to your puja room. Does it make sense? That is what your information architecture, structure of what you are solving. Yeah. All right. Cool. Here's a checklist that you can use. Always ask what stage of a product we are at. Are we in the beginning or are we in the end? Beginning, then it is usually discovery related. End means you have done everything. And you just come here to say yes or no. So your research methods that you use in the beginning are completely different from the research methods that you use in the end, isn't it? So ask this question, but you can conduct a research anytime. Depending on the project, I would suggest look into the project, what it wants most, and then conduct your studies accordingly. How important is the question I'm trying to answer? How much time, energy, money I'm willing to spend on this? Real questions. Ask them. Are you willing to spend $100,000? Or are you going to live with your decisions? Is it worthy? Is it making sense to me? Or is there a cheaper way to conduct this study? That's what you're asking. How important is this question? How much insight I want, how much evidence I want, how much ideas I want from this research. If it is usually validation, then you are looking for evidence. If it is usually ideas, you're looking for insights. Are you trying to convince somebody? Which means, can you show factually, hey, this is 90% of the customers do not measure their sugar levels in the morning, not even once a week. That is being extremely factual and evidence proof. Or is it just information? Whatever I said, if I don't have any data to it, I can say that as an insight. So the insight that we have understood is people do not try and prick their fingers every morning to measure their sugar levels. And they feel extremely comfortable to have a continuous glucose monitor on them. Great, that's an insight. Or do you want to focus on fresh ideas? The fresh idea could be like, I don't want to poke my fingers. Can I test my sugar level using my phone? Fresh idea. Do I need qualitative answers? Am I understanding how the user processes? Or do I need quantitative answers? Do I need both? This question will make your head spin. And then you will do the right study. You will not just like that go and do a research study. Is the behavior I'm interested in something that people can remember accurately? For example, let us say you are looking at how a conference experience was. Conference ho gaya. After 1 week, you're going and asking them, how was lunch at the conference? They're like, acha tha. Good. But actually, if you went when the conference is going on, during the lunch hour, would you get a more accurate answer? Of course. So, should the study be in the moment or later? That's a decision too. Yeah. If at all you come up with it depends, then please get deeper into your objectives or your methods, because you might need multiple things to do. There might be multiple dimensions you want to kind of, look into. This is the first thing that you will do even before you start the process. Yeah. How many people are you going to research? Like, are you going to meet your customers? If you are meeting the customers, how many? How confident you need to be with the because if I want more confidence, then my sample size should be more. I can't talk to 10 people and say, change the whole thing. Maybe I should talk to 50. How many different subgroups? Oh, am I talking about just diabetes in adults? Or I'm talking about juvenile diabetes? Am I talking about type 2 diabetes, type 1 diabetes, or pre-diabetes? What kind of a subgroup you want to talk to? Important question. What stage of the project? Are you in discovery mode or are you in the validation mode? And that will tell you, it's a formula, right? It will tell you how many people you need to talk to. And the formula is very simple. If you're in discovery, I would usually say talk to 6 to 8 to 10 people, enough. If you're in validation, then probably 10 to 12 is a good number. And let us say you're talking to type 1 diabetes, and type 2 diabetes. Find one subgroup, like 3 of them in one and 3 of them in another, and talk to them so that you have 6. Yeah. If at all you're looking for quantitative answers, let's say you are running a survey, then you should talk to 100 to 500 people. So you will see it is getting serious, right? It's not a child's play to just like that go and do a research. This takes effort, investment for you. Now that you have done all of this, shall we take a topic and go through the steps? I will whiz through the steps, but I want you to do this as a homework, each one of you, in the next 1 or 2 weeks. Will you? Yes? No? Okay, say whatever you want to, Karthi. All right, cool. So I'm going to take a topic of the modern era, obesity and weight loss, so that all of us can relate to. Some of us who cannot relate to weight loss or very skinny, I want you to know that there's a concept called as emotional relevance. What does this mean? If I'm fat and I need to lose weight, I will relate to what we are going to talk about more. But when you don't have that emotional relevance, means that the way you will understand the topic is not going to be very high. This is what is translated into empathy. So make sure you always have somebody who has emotional relevance with you when you're going through the study. So if you are somebody very lean, take somebody who's fat with you. Then you will understand weight loss a lot more. Yeah. It is important for you to have high emotional relevance. That is what is empathy. Empathy can also be 2 types. There's this book called Practical Empathy, and you can go ahead and figure out all the types of empathy. But there are 2 primary types. One is cognitive empathy, okay, where you understand it in your brain. For example, somebody talks about Alzheimer's. You have never been through Alzheimer's. So you understand it intellectually, what that person might be going through. That's cognitive empathy. Reflectional empathy is the empathy that you are getting because you have been through it. Okay, let us say you had a grandmother with Alzheimer's and you went through that journey. Now you will relate to Alzheimer's like nobody's business. So my point here is make sure you have high emotional relevance for the topic. Sometimes the topics are pushed on you. When you're working for a company like, say, a Salesforce or a ServiceNow or a Microsoft, they will just say, go do research on Word document. Go do a research on, say, Microsoft security. So you might not have empathy for all of that. So always have someone with you. That's my point. Okay. Now, let's take weight loss. And if you are not relating to the topic, go ahead and take another topic. Let's say solo travel or, learning, adult learning, learning in the AI era, whatever. Yeah, take one topic. Any topic you take, the process will work. That's my point. Yeah, let's go. Weight gain. Yeah, you can take weight gain. If you're skinny, you can take weight gain as a topic. I don't care about what topics you take, but I care about the journey that we go through with the topic. Okay, so there is about 160 of you in this room. Think about it as there is only you and me in this room. You, me, and your topic. Do not worry about anybody else. And that is how we will go through this process. All right. Oh, yeah, you can say that. Hold on. You can say that, but don't say it in such a way that people think you're incompetent. But there are better ways to say that. But you can, definitely. All right, cool. So here is a 7-step process that I suggest that everybody goes through. My first step is tag it and question-a-thon. And let me explain this. Whatever your topic that you're taking up is, go ahead and write 5 hashtags that come to your mind on that topic. Let's say if you're doing a weight loss, then hashtag weight loss, hashtag bridal photos, hashtag fitness, hashtag looking good, whatever. Take like 20 seconds and write your hashtags. Your hashtags. Yeah, go for it. And you can even share in the chat. Hashtag weight gain, hashtag diet. Yeah. Yeah. Trust me, if you spend 5 minutes on it, you will have 10 hashtags. Now you can use AI also to be a thought partner, and you will be able to generate these hashtags with AI. You're using it as more like your, brainstormer. You can do that. Now, the second step of step 1 is questions. For each hashtag that you took, ask a bunch of questions that are circling in your mind. What is weight loss? What is strength training? What is all this metabolism, muscle, ketosis, insulin resistance? So you can ask all the questions that are there in your mind. Empty it. If you have 5 hashtags, and if you created 5 questions for each hashtag, you will have 25 questions aram se. Yeah, fantastic. Now go ahead and write probably 5 questions for the entire thing. Because I'm not giving you more time. If you had like 10 minutes, you will be able to do more. Same, you can use AI to give you questions to think through the topic as well. I will give you a prompt at the end of this study so that you can take it and go ahead and use it. When you know the basics and if you know how to prompt, you will get excellent results from AI. Awesome. Fantastic. Now, what do we do with these questions and these hashtags? You will go ahead and arrange them on a spectrum of clarity. I know what is weight loss to some extent. Might not be accurate, but I know. I know what is BMI. Yeah. Then you will say, my clarity is very high. And there are some things I've heard, but I don't know. What is insulin resistance? I have no idea. What is a carnivore diet and what does it do to me? I have no idea. Does sleep help in weight loss? Or bad sleep add more weight? We don't know. Not yet. And that becomes your low clarity questions. Can we do this? Can you do this for any topic given to you? Any topic? Yeah. That is what you will do. That's your step number 1. So, what does step number 1 do to you? Just by doing these 2 steps, what have you learned? Yes, Shruti.
I sort of am able to put myself in that person's shoes and sort of see life or that problem from their eyes, or at least I try to.
You try to. So it gives you a focal point. It gets you a starting point. Yeah. You don't know everything, but at least you have a starting point. That's what the tag it and questionathon does to you. And questionathon does something to our brain called as priming. When you ask a question to your brain, till it finds the answer, it is usually restless. This is why when you write down a to-do, you generally do the to-do because it bugs you. It gets into a focus mode, and that is what questions do to you. So questionathon is a great way to get started with anything. If you don't understand a subject, do a questionathon. If you don't understand, like, what is this meeting all about, then ask a bunch of questions. If you don't know, like, where to start, what to do, go ahead, ask it. Personally, you can do it with friends, you can do it with office, you can do it, you can do it because it's all about human brain. Yeah. There are no bad questions. All questions are great questions. Now, this is a living document. It lives throughout the research. What happens? In between, you will find some answers. For example, you would have understood what is insulin resistance. You will move into high clarity. Probably you got new questions in the low clarity. So you will keep moving the questions and you will keep developing as a person. That is why after research, the way you understand that subject is very deep. If you're a good researcher. Yeah. All right. High and low clarity means you know the answer and you don't know the answer. Feroz, that's what it means. Which means you can't bullshit with any topic. You need to be serious about researching that topic. That's what we are doing. Step number 2. We are figuring out the research objective. Try and answer these 5 pillars or 5 buckets, right? Background. What background? What context? Why are we studying weight loss? What should we consider? Should we get into fitter, healthify me, cult fit? Are we trying to create another cult fit and we want to do what they are doing but better? Then it kind of gives you a background. Why are you doing this research? And then you explicitly answer this question, why are you conducting this study? And there is a probe. You're deepening and asking, what do you want to learn from this research? What questions am I trying to answer? What assumptions I want to validate? And at the end of this research, what will I deliver? When is this research happening? Now, next week, for 2 weeks, for 3 months? What is it? Observation. In case you're going to observe, let's say you created a facet for behavioral, then how are you going to observe? Through camera? Through data? Or you're going to be in person living with your customer? What is it? Can these questions be answered for any topic you are taking? Yeah. Fantastic. What does this do to you? What does this do to you? It narrows down the goal. Fantastic. It tells you what to do and what not to do. Can you do this for any topic? It gives direction. Fantastic answer. You have an objective to run by. Yeah. Now that's step number 2. The step number 3 is where you collect data. And I try and collect data in 3 forms. I do an audit, scan, and ask. If you are working in large company, I will also add a step called as anchoring. Because they would have done multiple studies over a period of time. In the last 5 years, they would have done some 100 studies. So you want to know what is done and what is not done, that's anchoring. So for now, I'm removing that because it's a little complex. So you can do an expert review, an audit of your product. You can do a secondary research. Let us take weight loss, right? Expert review. What kind of weight loss clinics? We'll get there, Shwati. Let us say we are talking about a weight loss clinic. Okay, now, as an expert, somebody who's conducting the research, you don't have any customers. Yeah, what can you do? Let us say you're working for Healthify Me, or you're working for MyFitnessPal, someplace, or you're working for Apollo's obesity clinics. Now, you are doing an audit of how things happen in that clinic. Can you do that? Whether an app or a service or a clinic or whatever. Can you do that? I'll give you more details on audit, but can you do that? Can you audit? Because you're just reviewing what is being done from your point of view. This is my point of view. As a researcher, this is what I feel. And then can you go and compare with other obesity clinics? Array, there is a naturopathy clinic. Now there is a GLP-1, Ozempic and stuff like that. Yeah. And there is this VLCC where they put you in a machine and then they roll you, and because of that you lose weight.
Hello.
Yes.
Can you explain the audit expert review, right? So are we going to...
We are getting there, Pranit.
Okay.
You need to wait till I finish the whole thing. Yeah. Ask is you are asking the customers who are coming to the obesity clinic. Let's say you're asking questions or you are looking at their data. Can all 3 be done? Yes or no? You can. So my suggestion to you is always do all 3. Even if you can't do primary research, let's say you don't have money, you don't have time, you don't have this, at least do audit and scanning. Can you? Yes or no? Can you? Exactly. So you have no excuse as a PM or a product designer not to proceed further into the product without doing the basic research. Can you promise me today that whatever you try and build, you will at least do an audit and a secondary research? If you are lucky, you will also do primary research. And also do it in the same order. Audit first, scanning next, asking last. Why? Can anybody answer why? Why should we do 1, 2, 3? Why can't I do ask first?
So after doing the audit process, audit step, we will be able to understand the area which has been done earlier and the area that we want to focus. So when we will be conducting secondary research, at that time it will help. So it will be in a good funnel process.
Fantastic. So
Right.
what are you doing? You're funneling your questions. So when you go to your customer, it's almost like meeting God, and you're asking the right questions. You're not asking stupid ice cream questions to them. What is an ice cream question? You ask a child, do you want an ice cream? The answer is yes. You ask an adult, do you want a raise in salary? The answer is always yes. So you don't ask such questions. You ask pointed questions, right? So this is what helps you to narrow down the right questions to ask the customer. Now, let's go ahead and study what does auditing mean. Okay, these are some checklists that I put together, which you can use for auditing, scanning, and asking. You must have heard this heuristic evaluation, expert reviews, Jacob Nielsen's method of reviewing, usability analysis, stuff like that. You can go ahead and look at all of this together. If you want to do more work, detailed work, there is always scope. That's my point. So let me give you a basic introduction to UX audit. Audit happens in multiple levels. Okay, so if you look at an experience hierarchy, it is usually in one of this, right? So functional, reliable, usable, convenient, all the way to hyper-personal. So first thing first, in an audit, you will determine where are you. You will point, oh, this is where Swiggy is. This is where MyFitnessPal is. And sometimes you could be below functional as well. Don't be surprised if that happens. You're terrible, and at least you are honest enough to say that we are terrible. I have had multiple products which did not even meet the functional needs. Some of our MVPs don't meet. So your first step in audit is to go and figure out, where are we? We are here. You should have an answer in this hierarchy. Yeah? Can we do this? Can we do this? Yes? Fantastic. Now, you can audit it in multiple levels. You can audit one screen. You can audit an entire workflow, the entire Instamart workflow, or entire dine out workflow. Yeah. You can audit a feature. You can audit a product. You can audit a business. So as you're growing in your career, you will start auditing in a matured way. Your maturity will increase and you will start auditing multiple things. Okay. So I can have an entire section on how to audit. I hope you will learn how to look at an interface and figure out what are the usability issues. For that, here are some 10 heuristics that are put together by Jacob Nielsen. And this has been a gold standard for the last 30, 40 years. Okay. Now, just take a piece of software. It could be any app or a website or whatever application. And you can just ask, is it meeting these 10 things? Okay. I usually take a spreadsheet and say, hey, what is the severity? Oh, I'm trying to do this. What is the severity of this issue? Is it high, medium, low? What is the impact of this issue? For example, if I can't even log into the system, which means I can't look into the rest of the system. So my impact is very high, or medium, or low. Frequency. How many times I use this particular thing? High, medium, low. Especially when you have high impact, high frequency, and high usage, pay more attention. Probably there is a feature that is used only in emergency. In emergency, it is super high impact. But every other day, no problem. So that is how you will use this heuristics. And I can send some examples to Akanksha so that you can start using those spreadsheets and audit in your context. For the fun of it, go ahead and audit, a week and audit, something like that. Go ahead and audit Swiggy and send it to the CEO. What will happen? Maximum, he will say, this is bullshit. Which is anyway the case if you don't send also. They will not know you. But what if your audit is amazing and they call you for an interview? And that is a great way to build your portfolio. I still do audits. I know I'm a dinosaur in the design industry, but I still do it because I look at anything and everything, even my water bottle. I'll go through an audit and say, oh, I can sip it properly. The flow is better. If the angle is, I can talk about it. That's a product design. Similarly, you can do a digital product design as well. Everything we are using is digital. So why not go and audit? The same principles applies even to your GPTs, your LLMs, even today, because human being didn't say no. The machine evolved, but the man didn't. The human didn't. So go ahead and use this. This is a great way. There are multiple heuristic. Heuristic in English means what? Thumb rule. Right? These are thumb rules Jacob Nielsen created so that you don't have to go through the entire human nature and figuring out which one to use and which one not to use. Similar to Jacob Nielsen, there is Ben Schneiderman's, Dieter Rams. All of these people came up with heuristics. Yeah? Awesome. Yes, this model definitely helps you in UX experience issues, for sure, especially usability issues. I really hope you have a teacher to teach all of that later, whenever you're learning design. I do want to talk about a commission project. I don't have the time, so let me miss it, but I will send you a video of this. Probably ask Akanksha, ask her to pull it from one of my old lectures and share it with you. Now, you are going to talk to the customer, right? You are going to do a primary, say, study, right? The way you go to an interview, your mindset matters a lot. You have to go into that interview like a learner, like a beginner. Do not have ideas in your head. Then you will not be able to listen to the ideas that your customer is telling you. You have to see with fresh pair of eyes and listen with fresh pair of ears all the time. If it is a 60-minute interview, you talk 5 to 7 minutes only. The rest of it, you will just listen. Get facts from them, not opinions. Opinions usually don't help. What people say and what people do not match 99% of the time. So when they say I'm healthy, then ask them, when was the last time you had junk or something like that? When was the last time you ate outside? How many times in a week so these will give you facts. Understand the why. Why do you need to do this? Why is this important to you? Why is weight loss important to you? What is your motivation? If you're working for Fitter, don't go and say, Fitter does this better. You're not selling, you're learning. That's your job. Don't mention, oh, our solution does this. We have this in our roadmap. Don't. Follow up and say that, can I speak to you after 3 months when we develop this new feature? Ask them, can you tell me other friends of yours going through similar thing? Because when somebody is going through diabetes or obesity or whatever, they usually have their friends also go through something like that. Because in our dominance hierarchy, that's how we choose people. You tell me about your friend, I will tell about you, right? So always ask them, can I talk to somebody like this? So this is how you conduct the research. And I want you to conduct the research and come back to me and tell how it went. Now, you will collect a few things. Any study. You will collect facts, evidences, feelings, emotions, observations, things you saw but they didn't say, stories, anecdotes, inferences. Inference means what? They didn't say it, but you understood it through your observation and ideas. So make sure you have these buckets, like 6 buckets with you. And so that whatever comes from that customer, you put in that particular bucket. Okay? Because it's going to be multiple things coming up in a study. And I want you to be ready. Make sure you group all the things that are similar, and especially duplicates, remove them. And mark, oh, this was green, this was red. They loved Fitter. They hated Fitter app. Loved will be green, hated will be red. So if you look at the data board, you can start seeing how many red post-its are there, how many green post-its are there. And that will allow you to see how many problems your customers have as well. And find the emerging themes. The themes like they talked about the product, they talked about, I am also using this particular IVA from this market. I can just put my finger and I can figure things out, right? Yeah, I'll come to the data pre-processing, but you can start figuring out the themes. This is human related, the customer related. This is business related. This is product related. This is market related, stuff like that. So you're just looking at the data differently. Earlier, we used to do it on the wall, and I would still prefer you to do it on the wall. But nevertheless, you can do it on a FigJam or a Miro as well. Okay, so that you can start color coding and you can start seeing patterns. Clean it up. This is how collection goes. And now you will have all of this coming together in 4 buckets. These are what the customers are saying. Customers are saying about product, about the business, about the market. Because usually when you're talking about products, they also mention your competitors. I am using Microsoft. I don't use Google for this. Something for you to pay attention to. Yeah. Now you will start categorizing the data. And I can't tell you how the data gets categorized because I have to see the data. For that, first you need to put the data together, right? So whatever you have collected, right? Just see what is, okay, they're talking about diabetes, they're talking about obesity, they're talking about sleep apnea, they're talking about hydration. What are they talking about? That's what you're seeing. Yeah. Hold on, just a second. I need to pull, yes. Yeah. So what is emerging in the data? Are there any categories forming by itself? Oops, that's called as affinity. What does the English word affinity mean? What is coming closer to each other, right? So you have all the data points. For example, you saw anchoring, auditing, scanning, asking. I didn't talk about anchoring much today, but you can have data points from all of it. Now you can start putting all the data points from everywhere in one board. And then you can start rearranging them. Oh, all these are related to diet. All these are related to fasting. All these are related to exercise. All these are related to sleep. You can start forming. And then slowly you can have groups, clustering. Yes, you will cluster. And then you will have multiple clusters, right? And that is how your data will start speaking to you. If your data should speak to you, first you should have data, no? For that, you should go ahead and collect. Yeah. And then you will be able to say, these 3 distinct groups, people, everybody, all 10 customers, 12 customers talked about these things. Yeah. And now you can start connecting the data. First, you collected the data. Then you categorize the data. Now you're connecting the data. How? Oh, whoever is having type 2 diabetes or pre-diabetes is also having skin issues. Their skin darkens in the neck. It's called dirty neck. These are real data I'm talking about. And now you can connect, oh, these two are connected. Everybody who is above, say, a BMI of about 35, 40 is having this problem. They are all on a sleep apnea machine or something like that. All of them in this category are having knee pain. Whenever the apple-shaped body is going through transformation, there is loose skin. A pear-shaped body doesn't have. These are all just examples I'm giving. It will start connecting like that. And now you can see clusters of the data. Okay, it's almost like Inception, right? You are just going into it. You double click and you'll go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. Trust me, the research only takes 1 week. The analysis takes bloody 3 weeks. Because you are living and reading through everything, right? You're basically seeing more than what the data shows. What came out is just one part. But what you're seeing beneath the layers is many. And finally, you will do synthesis of the data. And there are multiple ways you can synthesize data. And there is one technique that I use, and it has been absolutely brilliant. Right? I call it as 5 why and so what. Okay, now let's do it as an example. Let's say here are some data points that came to me. Now, you can pick one affinity or one cluster group. Yes, these are multiple, it's not just Japanese. These are all some traditional methods that we use. Let's take one data point and go through why. Yeah? So, why? I live in a hostel and there is nobody to ask me what I eat every day. And this is an obese child. Oh, my parents are separated, so I ended up in the hostel. Why? They kept on fighting. They felt it's not safe for me, so they put me in a hostel. Why? I'm sad. My parents are separated, so I'm depressed and I don't go out and I'm not so happy. I don't want to see people, basically. Why? So whenever I'm actually hungry, I have access to Maggie. Yeah, I can make Maggie quickly. I can just, 2 minutes, that's it, right? So what? So I don't have other food with me and there is no other food option available outside the mealtime. When hostel closes mealtime, I don't have anything else. So I eat junk. No, this is understanding the why. And then you're going through an aha moment. Oh, so access to healthy food is unavailable to students who are staying in a hostel. Imagine if Swiggy did this study. What can they do with this insight? What can they do? Send a reminder to go and eat. How can they provide healthy food? How can the interface talk about being healthy? Today, Swiggy cares about only selling meals, so it doesn't care. But imagine, I don't know how many of you have traveled to Singapore recently. Yeah? They can put a fridge in all the PGs. Yeah. They can provide homemade food, all of those options. Everything that you're saying is $1 million business. So if you go to Singapore, they have something called as a food grade certificate. Is it A grade, B grade, C grade, depending upon how hygienic that food place is. And 2, you have to mention how much sugar is there in everything. Even if it is not sugar added, even if you have rice, you have to say how many grams of sugar is there in that bowl of rice. And it grades the healthiness spectrum as this is healthy, this is not so healthy. And it gives you calorie count. Now, tell me, how many of you, after seeing all of that, will order junk? Maybe we will, but how many of you will order? So if Swiggy wants to sell more, they will not add these details. This is behavioral science, right? Or if they want the customer to make the right choices, maybe they have to provide all this information. So there is nothing called as good design or bad design. There is only what is the outcome for which we are designing. Now, if this is the insight, yeah, bad for the business, good for the user, all of that, that is a business decision. I'm sure you learned about how to map your business outcomes and stuff like that, isn't it? Right? So it is important for you to go ahead and understand the insight. Now, what have we done? We have collected the data, categorized the data, connected the data. Now, can we go and fourth step, create an interface, create an idea, create an experience blueprint for a customer journey map? Yeah. And that is pretty much is the process, all the 4 C's. You cannot connect the dots while you're collecting. And this is true for life as well. This is not just research process. For example, when you are listening to my lecture, you might not, understand everything. You're just collecting the dots. But when you review this tomorrow, you will go backwards. You will connect the dots. Collection is a forward process. Connection is a backward process, always. So never try and do both in the same time. Your brain will just fight with you. Yeah. I mean, you can go on and do this why, and you will see the hardest of all the steps is this one. This is the hardest because you're asking fundamental questions. Why? And if you feel you can extend the why more than 5 times, do so. But usually in 5, you will end up with a fundamental truth. You can't break it down anymore, atomic truth. Yeah, so if you look at business, there are 2 parts, right? One is capitalistic. It's for profit. The other is not for profit. It is all about well-being. So how do you use the design is the only question you and I have as designers, right? So you can go ahead and use this technique to go ahead and connect the dots and figure out the insights. You will find the aha moment. Things like, I think I did this in the class to just for them to understand why, so what. I'm addicted to Insta Reels, but I know it's not good for me. Why? Because it's easy to consume. It's short, lazy content. It's time saving. More reels in less amount of time. It feels like I did too much. I feel productive. It's personalized to me because they know who I am, what I want. It's speaking to me. Diverse content makes me feel like I am in the know. I mean, I am connected to the world. A false sense of solution to my life's problem. I belong. I mean, when I post cool shit, my friends look at it and I fit in. And so what? So this was just an example, but you can do that for any data point is my point. Now, after doing all of this, you can go ahead and put together all the jobs to be done that you have learned, the pain the customer is going through, the benefit the customer wants, that is what is a customer profile. I call it as cases. And the customer lives in a context like this. And when you present that, usually this is a great artifact after any research study. Yeah. Do this as an exercise. Pick a product of your choice, the things that you love, anything. Do an audit, do a compete analysis, do some user interviews, do your own analysis and synthesis, try and create a research report, make a short video, maybe a reel, put it in LinkedIn or Instagram, and tag the founder of that particular product and see what happens. And see. Tag me, at least I will review it, if not the founder, for sure. Yeah. All right. So that's something that you can submit to me in 2 weeks. I know I spoke a lot today. Let me shut up for some time and allow you to speak, ask more questions. Happy to answer anything that comes to you. Was it useful today? Was your 2 hours worth it? You can open up your mic or chat. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. Oh, engaging session. Awesome. Please use it. Use everything that we learned. Try and use it within this week, because our brain usually has this thing of, fading memory faster. So in the first 24 hours, if you don't use it, you generally forget 70% of the content. Don't. We didn't come this far to forget. Yeah.
So,
2 months work
Kranti,
into. Yeah.
I have that question like we started in the initial that the chat GPT, the UPI, how it was formed, it was not just the innovation thing or the AI, the chat GPT and all this stuff. So how these innovation drove from your point of view? Like we hadn't seen it earlier. There was no upfront requirement or desire. Then how like it came?
Yeah, fantastic question. Are you willing to spend another 3-4 hours? Just kidding. Okay, let me try and see if I can share that slide. I actually wanted to include that, then I realized that you might not make sense. See, a lot of things change, but a few things don't change. For example, the human nature doesn't change. It hasn't changed in 10,000 years. It's not going to change for another 10,000 years. And what are the things that are not changing? Same as ever. We know it. As behavioral scientists, cognitive scientists, neuroscientists, we know it. Yeah? And then 99.9% of all of us are similar. There's only 0.1% difference, which makes Sapna as Sapna and Praneeth as Praneeth and Karthi as Karthi. Just 0.1%. So when you're designing for a large population, say billions of people, where should you focus? The things that we are different or the things that we are same?
Things
Yeah.
where we are same.
So I came up after, it took me 10 years to figure this out. I'll just quickly, go through the slides. So if you can capture it, capture it. But that's how, I'll come to the answer to that question on how innovation happens. You will only answer that question. I don't have to say anything. Hold on, just a second. Let me see if I can open my December. Alright, this AI came and changed how we teach as well. I feel that it is important for us to learn human nature more in the age of AI, but I understand. Okay, let me share the screen. Okie dokie. So, this is what I was talking about, right? There's similarity and there's difference. And the similarity comes from, we all have the same systems, 11 systems in our body, 207 bones if you're a woman, 208 if you're a man. All of us went through the same evolution process. We focus on survival and reproduction first, and then comes everything else. We are pleasure-seeking, pain-avoiding, energy-efficient creatures whatsoever. I gave a TEDx talk. Probably you should I think it's called Next is Now, some shit like that. You can go search it in YouTube and you will find my name. And I talked about these things. I told them the next is here now. You're working with the same human being, right? This is the human being for whom you are creating the future. And we know everything about the human being right now. So what are we? I think I gave the TEDx style 3 things that you can do, something like that. But my point is, if you look at the difference, this is the genetic material, impressions, nurture, environment in which you grow up in, geography, culture, belief system, personality, the stories that you tell yourself. This is what makes you as you, isn't it? Right? But in that, you become a limited special edition. To find another sapna, the ratio is 1:400 trillion. Right? Like this, I went ahead and understood the Pareto of human beings. And it's hard to understand because it requires multiple subjects to kind of come together. There is cognitive science to understand information processing, artificial intelligence, semiotics, linguistics, how we use language, how we use signs, symbols, how our brain is working, neuroscience, how are we behaving, behavioral science, how we make decisions, behavioral economics, especially with finances. So multiple subjects teach you who you are. But there are only 6 things you should know, right? And I kind of went through all the 6. Usually I go through all the 6 things. And then there's just this one slide, which is a culmination of everything. Yeah, here we are. This is it. This is all you should know. You can take a snapshot. I'll see if Akanksha send this to you. We know human beings are 99.9% similar and 0.1% different. Our adaptability determines our success. What is the 3 things in our adaptation? Because we are not the fastest, we are not the strongest, but still we rule the world. Why? Because we are adaptable. We make tools, we use tools, we collaborate. Look at you, 100+ folks listening to a stranger. You have no idea who the hell I am. But still you're sitting and listening as if your life depends on it. And I'm also teaching as my life depends on it. This happens only with human beings. Can I bring all the goats together and teach them? No, it doesn't happen. And then we are using language. We are the only species which uses language. This is what makes us adaptable. So if you want to shine in your career and stuff like that, you just need to tweak these 3 things, right? Our biology is dictated by the nature, but our environment, context dictates the nurture. So when you're understanding the customer, understand their biology, understand their nature and nurture. Can you? Yeah. We are energy efficient, pleasure-loving, pain-avoiding creatures by default. If there is one thing that is used time and again when it comes to our memory, it is this. We hate to do hard work. Our jobs to be done. I want to hang the picture so that this room is beautiful. I don't care whether I hang it with nails. I don't care if I can do a chipka and then put one thing. I don't care about the means. I care about the end all the time. That's human. Because our brain doesn't allow us to do things with deep thinking. Because we have 86 billion neurons and this 1.5 kg mass between my ears takes up 20% of my energy. The rest 98% gets only 80% of energy. This 2% gets 20%. This is unfair. So even if 20% becomes 22%, it's too much on us. Our brain shuts down. That is why thinking is hard. Yeah, and then you can understand your brain as a structure, like a triune structure. Basal ganglia, and then comes your, reptilian brain, and then comes your cortical brain. As knowledge workers, you and I live on the cortex. But who is the boss? Who has all the power? Your reptilian brain. Because you need to breathe, your heart needs to work, you need to survive, yeah. And then you need to feed yourself, you need to have sex, you need to make babies. And when you are finished with these two things, then you may go and think, write poetry, write prose, whatever, make executive decisions. So look at all the decisions. UPI, figuring out your bank account, adding a beneficiary, waiting for 30 minutes for you to send 100 rupees. Versus, all I need is just the phone number. Energy efficient, pleasurable, no pain. No wonder UPI works. No wonder Apple's headphones work. Look at every innovation. It works because of that point number 4. Yeah. Based on attention and memory, our information is perceived. Because that's how our brain works. I talk specifically about the information processing model. So, how does perception work? Because your entire interface design is based on that. There is visceral perception, cognitive perception, and reflective perception. Visceral perception is everything that comes to you through your sense organs. So if I don't process it in my vision, then I don't take it to my brain to process the information. Now, if it did not, work the right way, then it is going to be registered in my heart as a heartbreak. Right? Because our negativity bias is 1:9. We remember negative things 9 times more than positive things. So, where does your job start? Your job starts in reflective perception and working backwards. As a creator, as a consumer, you go by visceral and cognitive and reflect. No, but for a designer, it's the other way around. If you want to make a dent in the experience, you have to start from the end. That is what, for that, now you can tune the attention. When I say things a certain way, this has 20% fat, true. This is 80% fat free, true. Same information. Which one will you buy? This yogurt is 80% fat free. This yogurt has 20% fat.
So this is all about like the things are working or not working.
Answer my question. Which one will you buy?
Both are the same.
Both are the same, but you will not think like that.
Correct. We will take the higher number.
Why? Your cognitive bias, there are about 320 in your brain. It will make you work faster. So you will always go to your system 1 way of thinking versus your system 2 way of thinking. That is what behavioral science is all about. These things don't change, right? So when you want to innovate, you want to stay true to these principles. Then technology can evolve and give you anything. Why are you using GPT, my friend? Why are you not going to Google anymore? Because you ask one question and you get one detailed answer. Otherwise, Google. After 3 pages, you will not even go there. So what is it? I get to do my primary tasks faster. Now tell me why all the innovations worked based on this. Of course, I can go on and on, but this is how we decide what to innovate. Making sense, my friends?
Yes. Katya, I have one more question to add upon following this.
Yeah.
So I have also gone through like this, but for example, the GH mode of symbolic interaction, how a symbol gives the meaning which
Mm.
does not, who gives that thumbs up is okay, but it's just a symbol, but it gives
Correct.
attached to the meaning, and it's all symbolic interactionism, like Sigmund Freud's personification, all this.
Ababa.
My question,
Simplify.
yeah, my question is like, if we go like this, it is behavioral science or sociological context or psychological context?
Okay. Hold your breath. That's everything that you need to know. What you talked about is semiotics. Semiotics is the basis of all branding. It's all about signs and symbols and stuff like that. Now, how is this sign and symbol processed is cognitive science. How do we create one cup and you call that as a power button? That comes from a collective understanding of a society. That's anthropology.
Okay.
Right? So it is not one thing. It's always a composite, is my point. Did that answer, Karthik?
Yes, good. Yeah, thank you.
Disha, and then Prasanna.
Hi. I actually have a question. Like, it's my understanding of research that when we do research, we get a lot of information. And over the period of time, like, what might have been our research objectives from what we would have started, they would shift very much when we talk to different people and get their perspective, especially in case of like we were discussing weight loss and everything. So there is a very individualistic perspective to it. So when we do research and talk to people, will our objectives also change over the period of time, or we will go with the initial findings or things that we have taken and then we'll move along with them only?
Okay, good question. Try and understand how our brain learns. This is where my neuroscience degree kind of helped a lot, because typical researchers don't look at it that way because they don't come from that background, right? But if you actually look at an adult brain, it always pegs on to something and creates a link, and that is how learning happens. One, based on one, there is two. Based on two, there is a three. Based on three, there is a four, like that. You just peg and go on. So when you're doing a study, you might have multiple things coming to you, and you might be pegging on different things. So if the holistic picture is changing and you're seeing something completely different where nothing is pegging, nothing is holding water, then that is important for a researcher to understand, because this is new information and probably it's time for you to deep dive. So it's very hard to say it in language, but let me try and explain it. As a researcher, you will start feeling intuitively where are you going. Provided you are calm and you do not have any biases. That is the hardest part. There will be 1,000 people coming and telling you, Disha, write the report like this, because it could be their agenda. But research, in my opinion, is truth seeking. You're seeking the truth. You're trying to understand what exactly is happening. So there might be things that you know and you are learning newly, or there might be things that you don't know. We call them as unks, unknown unknowns. And suddenly you will be understanding about that unknown. I'll tell you a simple example. This was in my HP time. I went for a usability study, and they were using HP printers. This was in a Chinese home. And I asked them to show me the printer, and my heart sank. The printer acted as their shoe rack. They kept shoes on the printer. I'm like, why? And then she gave me a brilliant answer. What do I use the printer for? To collect the outputs. I don't use a printer for anything else. I don't input anything. So I'm just collecting the output, which means in my in my small home, I don't have space for this large printer. And this made us rethink how we look into user interface. Here we are spending 20, $30 million figuring out the user interface. And here is a customer who says, I don't care. I need a medium to print, and that's my computer usually.
Yeah, I get it.
That is mind blowing. I can tell many stories like that. There's a facility called as ePrint in HP printers, and we have a whole patent on it. You can basically send an email to the printer, and the printer will print you. You need not be connected to the computer. You need not be connected through wires. You can just send us an email. This was because one of the CEOs were trying to get his flight tickets ready, and it was a Sunday. So his office was closed, his secretary was off. But this man didn't know how to open her computer and operate the printer. The ticket is in her, system. And that made us think, the secretary does the same thing, right? He sends email to her and she sends it to the printer and gets it. Why have somebody in between? You only directly send an email to the printer, no? Easy. And that became our signature way of printing. This increased. You know that printers make money by ink. The more you print, the more you make money. And ePrint just made people to send emails all the time. Just amazing. So stay and see what your collection is telling you. Then you can categorize, and then you can connect, and then you can create a new feature. Is that making sense?
Yeah, it's totally making sense. I do want to ask one little more thing.
Hmm?
Like, if we are working on a new app, for example, so like it's a startup or something, would it be our responsibility to come up with a target audience in such, like in case of a weight loss app, there might be very different age groups of people and everything, and if you want to conduct a research study, it might become very difficult. So we need to select a particular group of people. So would it be given to us? Would it be our responsibility to select those people?
It's a collective responsibility. Usually, making a product, unless until you are the founder, I would say it's not only your responsibility, but I would appreciate it if you are curious to ask these questions. You remember when we asked the question, we found the direction. The questionathon really helped. So get your team into and say that I have questions in all these areas, and create a full-fledged dossier or something and send it back to the team and say, this is what I understood about our customers. And people will appreciate you. It's not your roles and responsibility, but that is how you become a great researcher. So yeah, be nosy, be curious, be, joyful and bubbly, and that's what makes the teams to come to you, because you're an expert at something that they are not. You have a process, you have a method to this madness. They are just being mad. That's different from having a method. Yeah, go for it. So this is question from Vinayak. Yeah, no problem. Allegations of excess led nationwide ban product recall. You tell me, based on that one slide that you saw, why are we eating Maggie? Why? Why do we love Maggie?
Quick.
It's quick, convenient, tasty. So, as pleasure loving, pain avoiding, energy efficient human being, we love Maggie. So, even if it said it has lead and you will die, we will still eat. Don't we do that with cigarettes? Smoking is injurious to health. And yet we'll be like, yes, smoke. Yeah, so that's what happens. Usually, it's the energy efficiency, pleasure, and pain that makes us pick things and make it into a habit. That is why running 5 kilometers every morning is hard. It's painful and it's not efficient. Yeah. Can I suggest any books? There are multiple topics I have written about books, especially on research. You can just go to Google and ask for Karthi Subramanian research book recommendations, something like that. You will find a LinkedIn post which I shared with your own Next Leap people. I will also find it, and if I find it, then I will send it via Akanksha to you. I have done multiple such, resources, but trust me, there are so many books, you will not read them. Because it's a, how do I say? It's a dry subject. I will only agree to it. I love this subject, but it's a dry subject. If you go through Universal Research Methods, that's a beautiful book. It has about 100 methods in it. You can read Vijay Kumar's Research Methods 101 or something like that. Are you going to go through 101 methods? Seriously? In this 8 only, in the 8, I gave you 4. This 4 also, my students haven't used and completed that due in 2 weeks assignment. I'm teaching in Next Leap for the last 5 years. Not one assignment came to me. One. So knock yourself out. I will send you the books, but I'm telling you what is the reality. Yeah. All right, Praneeth, go for it.
Yeah, hi. So actually, I have 2 questions. Generally, user research is done before or after launching the product. Because if we do the user research after launching the product and obviously getting some traction, then we have the user base, right? And then if we do the research, then it can yield better results. But if we do the user research before,
But that's an assumption, right?
What is?
That's an assumption, right? After I have done the product, after I have the user base, then I will go and research.
Okay. No, but we can get some initial traction, right? After launching the product.
I am saying even before thinking about the product, you still know what kind of people have these problems, right? In problem solving, there are 2 parts to it. One is problem, the other is solution. And as researcher, we live mostly in the problem space. Even when a solution exists, we still are gravitated towards the problem, isn't it?
Yeah. Right.
So it has nothing to do with after the traction. Those are all, sorry, PMs, don't take me in any other way. This is just PMs creating jobs for themselves. Think about it generically, like sensibly. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? You want to solve a human problem.
Correct.
And for that, you are creating a product or a service or a system to solve that problem.
Correct.
Here is a man, here is a machine. This machine should solve the man's problem.
Correct.
If it solves the man's problem, the man gets it. If it doesn't, the man solve the problem, the man doesn't get it. Simple. So what is traction here?
Okay, so my question is, let's say we are doing this user research before launching the product, right? Generally, let's say I reach out to, let's say 1,000 people, right? Let's assume.
10 is enough.
Okay, 10 is enough. Okay, so
10 is enough. See, if you're doing a qualitative research, 10 itself is, if each person you spoke to is about, say, 1 hour, you will have at least 600 data points. The 10 will make it 6,000. You'll go mad if you talk to 1,000 people. It depends upon what kind of research you want to do, right, Praneeth?
Let's say I have a specific problem, and I want to know if there are people who are actually looking for that solution, right, for their problems, right? So obviously, I have to go into quantitative research over here, right? I need to see, right, whether how many people
Need not be. See, this is how I know I failed. And I constantly fail with my classes. I gave you 8 facets for you to choose what do you want to learn. If you want to learn quantitatively, if you want to evaluate your product, if you want to see if you have reached a product market fit, it's a different study. But if you want to talk to a customer and understand their problem space deeply, then you're talking to customers even before you have thought about the product. The product, you don't even know what product you're going to create. That is a formative study, right?
Okay. I was thinking in terms of product market fit only.
I know how product managers think. It's almost a husband and wife relationship that we go through, right? As designers, because we watch you do amazing things and we watch you, screw up as well, right? And sometimes in all these, jargons, you miss to see what is actually happening in your GTM, in your traction, in your, PSF and PMF and BMF and all that stuff. You lose it. All I'm asking you is go back to basics and ask, what is the value exchange we are doing? What are the jobs to be done? What are the pains? What are the gains? In what context? What is the Maslow hierarchy of the user? What is the dominance hierarchy of the user? This is where your human nature becomes a very big part in understanding.
Correct. Karthi, see, what I'm trying to ask is, jobs to be done has to be done for a solution, right? So,
no. Jobs to be done is a human problem. Me being hungry and removing my hunger is a human problem. Whether it is a milkshake or a dosa, that's a different story.
Okay.
I'm just trying to break your assumptions and bring you to the basics. That's my point.
See, we do any kind of user research for what? To see if there is actually a...
First of all, we don't do user research, Praneeth.
Okay.
We run on assumptions.
Okay.
Second of all, when we do research, we don't do a 3-part research. We don't do auditing, scanning, and asking. Okay, who does the research? I don't see researchers in the companies. The ratio of research, design, product management, and engineers, who is the most crowd? You tell me. Usually it's engineers.
Okay. People who build things. Okay.
Yeah, usually it is engineers.
Okay.
Then a product manager comes. And they say that between the product manager and the engineer, we will do all the front end. We can use Figma make and we will only make it. And as a result, the design maturity is not very high. And now when you have a designer, then there is a PM, there's a designer, and there is an engineering scrum team. Where is the researcher in this? We generally don't have it. That's what I'm saying. We hardly do. And probably that is why you are all in this class today, to understand a little bit more about this subject. Because this subject will take you more to the human and less to the machine. So in man-machine interaction, I want you to stay to the man side.
Correct. So, sorry, I'm taking so long.
No, clear it, because there might be so many people in this room who might have the same question.
Let's say in the perspective that I'm building something, right? It can be anything, a product or software, anything, right? Obviously, the first thing I will do is what? User research only, right?
Yeah, need finding and insighting.
Correct.
You have to do that.
So obviously, if I'm building a product, I'm solving someone's problem, right? So for that, we start with the user research, right?
See, Praneeth, stay with me.
Okay.
You can do it from your assumption as well. You don't have to do the research. You can just say, I think I know my customers very well. This is how their customer profile is looking like. Can you do that?
Might not work well, right?
Assumption, hypothesis is how, a lot of companies start. Unfortunately.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. So it need not be a research process. It could have been an assumption or a hypothesis as well.
Okay, so what is the right structure then? Is what I'm trying to ask.
The right structure is to really understand the customer.
Okay. So which comes
And
from
this
user.
customer also changes, right? Because their context also changes. Now AI came. Now suddenly the customer is asking, can all of this be done by AI agents and increase my productivity? So you need to keep understanding what is the context shift here as well. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
I'm sorry, I took more in asking questions to you than answering you. But the typical problem statement is we don't do research. We usually run by assumptions, and that's not a good thing.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, please do it. Please do it so that you understand your customers more deeply. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, people, I have all the time. It's my Saturday, but if you are all in a hurry, we can take one last question and I will let you go. But please feel free to. Gauri.
Yes, sir. So as you mentioned about like lack of research teams in our product companies and things like that, which is something that even I have faced and I've also seen. So with your experience, do you see this changing in the future where we can bring in more research, and how do we as a PM in the future, how can I enforce that a bit more? I mean, I know it's a very, but yeah, just
No, I
just
the
your
reason I am smiling is
outlook on it or
live.
something like, or on
Yeah,
it.
I live this reality every day. I go through headcount conversations. I keep asking for more researchers. So I get it. So before answering the question for our field, I would like to take an analogy of another field which went through similar stuff that we are going through. If you look at the medical field today, there is a cardiologist, there is a gastroenterologist, there is an OBGYN, and there are so many specialists, right? But all of them are dealing with the same connected human body. Yes or no? Yeah. But how do they talk? He talks about the heart as if nothing else is important in that body. And none of the doctors talk to you about nutrition or diet or none of these things. They're all about fixing things. I'll put a stent, I'll put a graft, I'll put a this, I'll put a that. They talk like mechanics to you, right? Right? So that is exactly what's happening to our field as well. We're so super specialized in such a way that researcher just gives you insights. Are you connected with the interface? No. Tell me what to do with your insights. Yeah, I live in hostel, I eat Maggie, all that is fine. Now what? What should I do with this? So we, in that super speciality, we are cutting, but we are not bringing it all together as an integration. AI is forcing us to do that. So if at all you are young PMs starting out now, I would say don't think of yourself as designers, PMs, engineers. Instead, think of you as a value operator. You do three things really well. You create value, you deliver value, you communicate value. That's it. Yeah. When you're creating value, it means you are thinking about what value. That is where need finding, inciting, all of these things happen. Should you need a researcher for that? Did anything that I teach you today, was it meant to be only for people who come with that specialization?
No.
That's all I'm saying. If you want to super specialize as a T-shaped individual, you can have breadth in everything, but depth in one, go for it. You're needed mostly. But if you're a PM, I think you should know this and this. A structured, like balanced T will definitely help you. You'll have a better conversation. With AI, it becomes all the more easier. Now that you know this framework, can you ask AI to do these things for you? Of course. You can give the 6,000 data points and ask AI to connect and categorize and create those clusters and affinity maps, and then come up with the customer journey maps and the customer profiles. Can it do? Absolutely. Do you really need a researcher for that? You should know the basics of research. It need not be a specialization, is what I'm saying. Yeah. Please change the world by becoming more integrated as value operators rather than as just, oh, I'm a researcher. I stop at insights. No, it's useless.
Okay, Karthi, see, you just said, right, about the user research part. So every company has to have researchers, but it is not for a specific problem, right? They just need to understand.
No. I'm not saying that, Praneeth.
Okay.
It depends on the design maturity of the organization. For example, ServiceNow is highly mature as a design org. For a 27,000 member org, we have 1,060 designers or 60 EX. That's a lot. I used to work in Salesforce before I came to ServiceNow. Just by numbers, we had 88,000 people, and we had 600 in the EX org. Okay, so when your organization matures, their investment also grows. Sometimes the organization can be very large, but they don't believe in these things. So it's a very much an org design, and what do we bet on?
See, if we are planning to do let's say, if you can just give me like 5 steps, right? I don't know how to put this into the context, but I will try. What I'm trying to ask you is, where should the user research start from? Like from the beginning, right?
At the beginning. If you have a researcher in your Scrum team, they will be there in the beginning. They will watch how we are proceeding, and they will evaluate how the product is shaping up in the end of the cycle, the post-implementation as well. This is everything that they will do. But in the absence of a researcher, can you, as a PM or a designer, pick up these things and still go ahead and evaluate? Do not ship something without doing that evaluation. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
So it need not be a headcount-based solving problem. More bodies doesn't mean anything.
Okay.
Yeah, I have seen teams who are like super small, but they are very pointed in what they test. And those teams really win. And they don't have one researcher, one designer, one PM. No.
What I'm saying is we have to change the approach of assuming a hypothesis.
Fundamentals. What I taught you today is fundamentals. Whatever I have taught you in 2 hours, if you can take it for the rest of your life, trust me, you will be better than most PMs out there. Most. Yeah. It's not, you can be a researcher. You can do that for life. However, in the absence of a researcher, don't lose research, is what I'm saying. I don't have a researcher, so I will not do research. No, that's not okay. Do it. Audit it. Have a secondary research, have a primary research, stuff like that. Yeah. Please think like a value operator. That's the point. You got it, Sanchit. Yeah. Prompt. Yeah, I know. I told you, right? I can show you.
We do the user research for obviously for the target audience that we are targeting, right? For the audience that we are targeting.
Of course.
Okay. Got it.
If a teacher is graded based on the questions you ask, I should fail by now. Anyway, So here is everything, right? Your step 1, step 2, step 3. So these are all the various prompts that I have kind of created for ChatGPT, and I will share them with you so that it comes to you as a packet with all the slides and all the I know, no problem. Yeah, I think I should also let you all go. Thank you so much for staying back. Oops, I forgot to ask you some feedback. So whoever is here, please give your feedback and drop off. And if there are any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm usually responsive. I try to be approachable because it's very hard for you to be in touch with somebody from the industry. So ask your questions. I'm happy to answer them anytime. Yeah. All right. Let me launch this feedback. You can give the feedback and then you can drop off. And I will leave now. See ya. Thank you, folks.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Thanks, Karthik.
You just answered a question of slides. Were you talking about my question that I put in the chat?
Did I answer you or no?
Actually, I put a question like, how should I know that when should I use LLM or Googling or going deep in subject-wise sources? So were you answering that?
Ask me. No, I was just giving you the prompts, but you can ask the question. What is it?
No, I don't have a particular question. I'm saying in generalized, whenever we have a question, I just want to know when to use an LLM or when to go into deep in a subject, because LLM gives an answer based on the data we feed it to.
Okay. Okay. So you're asking an AI question. Yeah, I have a perspective on that. Definitely. So there are 3 roles AI plays for me. If you are coming from a computer science world, then we have this concept of master-slave function, right?